My name is Liam, 30 years old, and I've learned that in my family, love often comes with a receipt I never signed. At breakfast, my dad lifted his fork like a baton and announced it the way you'd announce a weather report that never affects you. We've booked a trip to Italy, just the six of us. You understand, right? He didn't look at me when he said it. He looked at the eggs. He always looks at objects when he's doing something he doesn't want to own. My mom nodded. My older sister, Summer, smiled. The smile you give when a surprise has been sitting in your throat for weeks and you're desperate to spit it out on cue. Her husband laughed into his coffee like this was a joke we all knew. Hey viewers, before we move on to the video, please make sure to subscribe to the channel and hit the like button if you want to see more stories like this. I looked at my plate, then lifted my eyes and gave them the gift they always expect: permission. Of course, I said. I wasn't sarcastic. I wasn't bitter. I used the same tone I use with bank tellers and TSA lines: smooth, cooperative, painless. The kind of voice that helps other people believe they're kind. They launched into logistics without me, connecting flights, gelato versus granita. My mom said Florence might be hot, but the good kind, which means the kind of heat you can post about. Summer's husband searched for Tuscan wine tours on his phone. My dad listed luggage limits like commandments. No one asked me about time off, or if I'd ever wanted to see Rome, or if I was free. They didn't need to. They had already written me out of the itinerary and, out of habit, into the ledger. When they talk like this, I go quiet. Not the sulking quiet, the listening quiet. I can hear the gears of a machine I didn't build clanking in the walls. This breakfast wasn't the beginning. It was just the newest layer of something I used to pretend wasn't eroding me. After dishes, after the stunned smile, after my sister's sweet, "Wish you could come, Lee." Like I blocked myself, I drove home with the windows down and the radio off. I put my key in the lock and paused at the ridge of my own threshold. Breathing there felt like stepping into a decompression chamber. My phone buzzed at 10:41 p.m. Bank alert $1,982. Rome Boutique Hotel $524. Venice Water Taxi $2,760. Florence Food Tour Package. More entries spilled like a drain unclogging. $9, 200 in total before the numbers stopped dancing. I stared, not because I was surprised, because I wasn't. Because my name and my solvency have always been the family's favorite ghost. Things appear on me and vanish from them. It would have been easy to call, to stage the ritual. "Mom, did you?" "Dad? Why would?" "Summer, you know my." I skipped the ritual. I opened the banking app, touched the freeze slider, and watched it go from green to gray. The gray felt like rain on a wildfire. Then I tapped dispute on every charge. It took 5 minutes. The app folded itself closed like it had tucked me in. I made tea. Chamomile, the one that tastes faintly like apology. I sat on the couch and let the quiet touch all the places that had been bruised by attention I never asked for. My girlfriend Nora texted, "You still up?" "Yeah, family did the thing again," I typed. "Do you want me to come over?" "No, I just flipped the switch." "Proud of you. Call if you want me anyway." Nora doesn't come with lessons or ultimatums. She never scripts my life for me. Her ex once tried to friend my sister for proximity, a soft invasion. It didn't last. Nora made sure it didn't turn into triangulation. I like women who understand doors. At 5:32 a.m., my mom texted from the airport. "Why did our boarding pass vanish?" I typed slowly. "I'm not on the trip." That was all. The three dots blinked like a heartbeat with arrhythmia, then stopped. I set the phone face down and watched the kettle steam again, just to hear something honest. It didn't start with Italy. It never starts where it looks like it starts. Moments like these are sediment. They settle grain by grain. The overlooked plate, the cashier who gets told to put it on the family card while looking at my face, the tight little jokes about how Liam is good for it. A cliff doesn't collapse because of one wave. It collapses because something has been gnawing at it long enough that even the seagulls can see through. I lay down and didn't sleep. It wasn't guilt. That emotion used to roll through me like weather. Tonight, there was only structure. I was counting breaths when the next alert arrived. Chargebacks initiated, the Florence dinner refunded, the Venice tour reversed, the boutique hotel regretted the inconvenience. I smiled. The mild private smile you practice when the world expects your gratitude, but you're busy reclaiming your name. When the sun edged through the blinds, I made a list, not punitive, procedural. My life had become a pinboard, string lines to every device, subscription, and password my family still believed ran on hope and hymns. I wrote: phones, vault, house, mortgage, autopays, business, ledger, 7 doors, 7 keys. I showered. The water hit my shoulder with the measure of a marching drum. On the shelf sat a line of prosthetic liners folded like white flags. People assume resilience is the sound of swords. Sometimes it's the soft click of a socket fitting clean, the seal of something that used to hurt finding alignment. I don't owe anyone a performance about the accident, but I owe myself the knowledge that surviving isn't the same as being used. At 9:16 a.m., another text from my mom. The airline says the hotel canceled. Not them. Fix it. I put the phone on silent. There is a holiness to silence when your entire childhood was an alarm. I ate toast that had cooled enough not to pretend it was warm. Outside, the day performed normal, and for once, I didn't try to keep up. By noon, the family chat began to fracture. My sister, does anyone have the confirmation email? My dad, Liam must have done something. My mom, don't start. The thread sprouted blame like mold in a closed room. I didn't reply. I archived it. No assent. Lunch later. Maybe. I'm cataloging some things. Want a second set of eyes? I think I need my own eyes today. Then I'll bring dinner tonight. No questions. I thought about the no questions part more than I thought about dinner. My family loves questions that are actually instructions. Nora offers quiet. That is respect. Near evening, I opened a blank document and wrote a sentence I had never allowed myself to say in ink. They don't forget me. They delete me. I watch the period settle. There are decisions that feel like slamming doors. This one felt like leveling a foundation and saving the blueprints. My dad called 3 times, then a fourth. A voicemail came through stuffed with words that sounded like advice in a house fire. You're overreacting, he began, the way men do when they need history to sit very still. We took care of you after the ACC. He stopped himself, changed lanes. Just fix it. Be a team player. The old role, the old leash. I didn't press play again. I let the waveform freeze on its jagged edge. By night, I had the list pinned to the fridge with a magnet shaped like a lemon. I touched each word like a bead on a cord. Phones, vault, house, mortgage, autopays, business, ledger, 7 doors. Tomorrow, I'd start turning keys. For now, I turned off the kitchen light and listened. My apartment hummed like a well-tuned throat. In the dark, I could finally hear myself breathe. When I was a kid, my mom used to say, "Family remembers what matters." What she didn't say is that sometimes what matters to them is what they can take. The Italy incident didn't grow out of nowhere. It was just the latest verse in a long, quiet song my family hums. One where I'm always the chorus of convenience. They're stuck at the restaurant. Dad's furious. Was that you? I didn't reply. Because when people treat you like the bank, silence becomes your overdraft protection. The wedding. You don't have kids, so you're useful. Then came Summer's wedding. She said she'd handle the budget. I believed her. I shouldn't have. A week before the ceremony, $9,800 appeared on my credit statement, wedding party invoice. I thought it was fraud. It wasn't. When I asked, Summer laughed. You don't have a wife or kids, Liam. You might as well make yourself useful. Useful. That word cracked something in me. I had spent years patching holes in everyone's life, fixing mom's credit card debt, helping dad with business taxes, floating Summer's rent when she was between jobs. But that day I realized they didn't see me as family. They saw me as infrastructure. I paid off the balance, closed the card, and mailed the statement to my lawyer labeled "Pattern Begins Here." The backyard celebration invitation revoked. When my parents finally paid off the house, thanks in part to me, they planned a backyard celebration. I even paid for the remodel. New patio, fresh paint, string lights. It looked beautiful. A week before the party, my mom called. We're keeping it small, just immediate family. I stared at my phone. Who exactly counts as immediate? She hesitated. Summer, her husband does. You'll understand, right? It's just for photos. That word again, understand. I canceled the catering that same day. When she showed up at my door, screaming that I had humiliated them, I didn't yell back. I just opened the door and said, "You want it intimate? Now it's intimate." She left shaking but not apologizing. My father didn't call for months. The architecture of betrayal. Each of those moments had felt isolated, small fires in a long hallway. But now, sitting in my apartment surrounded by screenshots and receipts, I could finally see the pattern. The deliberate construction. They called it family. I called it a system. I pay. They laugh. I show up. They move around me. I help. They delete me. That isn't misunderstanding. That's architecture. That's design. Every structure needs a foundation, and for them, I was it. The dependable one, the fix-it one, the emotional plumber of their chaos. I thought giving more meant proving love, But all I proved was that I could be emptied repeatedly without complaint. That night, I made a folder on my desktop titled The Ledger. Inside it, I started dropping everything. Invoices, Venmo screenshots, canceled transfers, voice notes, a quiet archive of proof. My prosthetic leg rested against the chair, the carbon fiber catching a faint reflection of lamplight. That thing has carried me farther than any of them ever will. I used to think my accident made me less. Now I see it's the one reason I learned to rebuild, piece by piece, alone if necessary. I sipped tea, looked at my list of 7 doors, and circled the first one, phones. Tomorrow, the architecture would start to crumble. People talk about going no contact like it's a single clean cut. It's not. It's surgery, deliberate, layered, and performed without anesthesia. The morning after I circled that first word, phones, I brewed coffee, opened my laptop, and began dismantling the empire my family built on my silence. Step 1. Communication. Our family phone plan was in my name. 5 lines. Mine, Mom's, Dad's, Summer's, and her husband's. I didn't cancel it. That would have made me the villain too soon. Instead, I transferred control to each of them individually. Each had 72 hours to update payment details or lose service. 72 hours came and went. No responses. On the 3rd day, I watched their lines blink offline one by one, like lights in a house finally acknowledging the storm. My mom's number went first, then Dad's. Summer held out longest, texting, "Hey, I can't call. Did something happen?" I typed back, "Yeah, ownership happened." Silence. Step 2. The vault. They thought family trust meant Liam keeps the passwords. Over the years, I'd stored everything. Their banking logins, streaming accounts, utilities, even Summer's online boutique platform. Inside my password manager back, when I still believed being useful meant being loved. Now, I reset the master key and deleted shared access. When I hit confirm, the app displayed a message I'd never noticed before. "This will permanently revoke all linked devices." I smiled. Exactly. Within an hour, I got the first email from Dad. "Can't log into the mortgage portal. Did you change something?" Then from Mom. "The Netflix password isn't working again." And finally from Summer. "You're being petty. Grow up." Petty. That's what people call boundaries when they've never had to respect one. Step 3. The house that wasn't theirs. The house my parents lived in, the one with the remodeled patio I'd funded, ran on systems I owned. Wi-Fi, security cameras, smart locks, thermostat. When I built their setup 2 years ago, Dad said, "You're good with that tech stuff." Translation, do it for free. That morning, I logged into the control dashboard and pressed Suspend Licenses. The lock switched to manual. The cameras went dark. The thermostat flashed disconnected. It wasn't vengeance. It was correction. That house had been wired through my accounts, powered by my income, and maintained by my credit. It was never theirs, just borrowed infrastructure. Step 4. Financial unplugging. I called the bank to withdraw as co-signer on their mortgage. The clerk hesitated. "That will trigger a reassessment." "Are you sure?" "Yes," I said. "I'm correcting a long-term clerical error." The interest rate tripled by afternoon. Electricity transferred. Water transferred. Autopay subscriptions ended. The Amazon account logged out across all their devices. By sunset, I was lighter by dozens of invisible threads. Step 5. The family business. My parents had started a side hustle, a small online decor store, 2 years ago. They'd built it under my LLC, Digital Services, because Dad said, "Banks trust your name." I let them. I shouldn't have. That afternoon, I opened the admin panel and typed one line. This system operated under a courtesy license maintained by L&M Digital. As of today, it has been decommissioned. Please consult a licensed IT provider for future services. No emotion, just facts. Then I shut it down. Step 6. The fallout. By Wednesday, the group chat was chaos. "Mom, why can't I log into the Wi-Fi?" "Dad, Liam, fix this now." "Summer, are you serious? This is insane." I didn't reply, not even a punctuation mark. The next day, I got a voicemail from Mom. "This isn't like you, Liam. You're scaring us." She didn't sound scared of losing me, just scared of losing access. Then came Dad's text. "We did everything for you." No mention of Italy. No apology. Just the familiar script: guilt, distortion, denial. I played their words on speaker and stared at the notes I'd taped to my wall. Phones, vault, house, mortgage, business. 5 steps complete, 2 to go. Step 7. Documentation. I opened an Excel file and began exporting every family-related transaction from the past 3 years. Every Venmo heart, every thanks, I'll pay you back. That never came. Every overdraft covered in silence. I labeled each entry, categorized them, and attached proof. Receipts, screenshots, invoices. When I sent the file to my lawyer, he asked, "Are you preparing for a lawsuit?" I said, "No, I'm preparing for peace." He didn't argue. The digital collapse. By Friday night, they realized how much of their life had been running through me. I imagined the dinner table that night. Dad shouting, Mom crying, Summer swearing the Wi-Fi hates her. They'd always believed I was replaceable. Now they understood I was structural. And when structure walks away, the walls fall in. That evening, my phone lit up with 16 missed calls. I watched the screen glow and fade, like a house losing power room by room. Nora arrived around 9 with takeout and quiet eyes. "Rough week?" she asked. "Transformative," I said. She smiled, the kind that doesn't need details. "I brought you sushi and a charger in case you burn the world down." "I didn't burn it," I said softly. "I just turned off the electricity." She laughed once, low, approving. "That's my guy." Later, when the city outside had gone quiet, I scrolled through the messages piling up. Cousins asking what happened, an aunt writing, "They said you stole from them." Another message from Dad, "You're not part of this family anymore." I took a screenshot, filed it under a new folder titled Narratives. If they wanted a story, I'd keep the receipts. I lay back, the hum of the city bleeding through my window, and whispered into the dark. They built an empire on my patience. Now they'll learn what absence really costs. It didn't take long for the lies to start. When people like my family lose control, they don't apologize, they edit. By Saturday morning, my cousin Lily sent a screenshot from Facebook. "Sad how money changes hearts." My mom had written, "Some people forget who raised them." Below it, a stream of sympathetic comments, prayers, heart emojis. One woman wrote, "You're better off without toxic people." Toxic. That was me, apparently. I didn't comment. I didn't defend myself. Instead, I opened my laptop and began the final project, the family ledger. The folder already existed. Now it needed witnesses. I organized everything into subfolders. Italy fraud, $9,200 in travel charges reversed. Christmas seat photos, timestamps, canceled mortgage drafts, wedding debt, screenshots of Summer's text calling me useful. Anniversary dinner, restaurant invoice voided before payment, remodel receipts, proof of transfer for backyard costs. Each file had a clear name: FlorenceHotel.pdf, mortgage_freeze.jpg, Christmas_event MP4, wedding_invoice.docs. No commentary, just evidence. Then I wrote a single note at the top. This isn't revenge. This is balance. Releasing the truth didn't mean posting it publicly. That would have been noise. So I sent the Dropbox link to a few strategic recipients. My cousins, an aunt who still liked my posts, and one old family friend who had always suspected there was more behind the smiles. Within hours, my phone buzzed with messages. Cousin Mark, holy crap, I had no idea. Aunt Elise, your mom's deleting her posts. Friend Nora, they're terrified, aren't they? I didn't respond. Silence is louder when it's earned. The family chat imploded. That night, the group thread came alive. A digital volcano. Mom, how dare you air our private life? Dad, you'll regret this. Family doesn't destroy family. Summer, you're obsessed with playing the victim. I didn't reply, not a single word. An hour later, Summer texted Nora directly, a move I'd been expecting. "You know he's unstable, right? After the accident, he hasn't been the same." Nora showed me her phone. "Want me to respond?" I shook my head. "No, let them hear their own echo." By Sunday, they'd escalated to threats and sob stories. Dad's voicemail arrived first, slurred from whiskey. "We know what you're doing. You're not untouchable." Then a message from my aunt. "Stop now before you ruin everything. You'll regret it." And finally, the one that almost made me laugh. A 3:14 a.m. group message from Mom. "Liam is no longer part of this family. Do not contact him. He's not well." Not well. Their shield. Make me sound unstable, and maybe no one would believe my receipts. Public versus private. The difference between them and me was simple. They weaponized perception. I weaponized proof. When my cousin forwarded the family thread, the same one where my dad wrote, "He's done. We're better off," I archived it next to their financial logs and added one final section to the ledger, defamation evidence. Inside, screenshots, voicemails, timestamps, all labeled, all factual. My lawyer texted, "You're collecting more than most plaintiffs." I answered, "I'm not suing. I'm preserving history before they rewrite it." For 3 days, I said nothing. No posts, no calls. Just silence, the kind that presses on people who need noise to stay relevant. Then something unexpected happened. Relatives started unfriending my parents. A family friend commented publicly, "Funny how Liam's always the villain until the receipts come out." Within an hour, Mom's entire profile vanished, deactivated. Summer's wedding photos disappeared too. Dad changed his number. I didn't celebrate. There was no satisfaction, no victory, just quiet truth settling into the corners like dust after demolition. On Thursday, a knock rattled my apartment door. I looked through the peephole, my parents and Summer, standing like ghosts rehearsing a script. Nora looked up from the couch. "It's your call," she said. I opened the door, but didn't invite them in. My mom spoke first, voice trembling on command. "We didn't come to fight. We want to make it right." Summer added, "We miss you." But it wasn't regret I saw. It was calculation, the same look they used when asking for a small favor. I said it plainly. "You don't miss me. You miss access." Tears followed, soft, practiced, performative. Mom whispered, "We didn't realize how far this had gone." I asked, "How far did it have to go for you to see me?" Dad stepped forward. "Let's heal, Liam. We're family." I shook my head. "You don't want healing. You want control." They looked confused, like they thought showing up would undo months of choices. I exhaled. "This isn't a debate," I said. "It's a verdict." Summer opened her mouth, but I stopped her. "You didn't lose your safety net. You lost a son, a brother, not out of hate, but because I finally love myself enough to leave." Mom's voice cracked. "What are we supposed to do now?" I answered quietly, "Rebuild or don't, but not on my back." Then I closed the door. No slam, no dramatic exit, just the sound of wood meeting frame, the soft punctuation of freedom. They stood there for 5 minutes before leaving. That was 3 months ago. They haven't tried again because this wasn't reconciliation, it was negotiation. And I don't negotiate with people who only understand love as leverage. I archived the entire family ledger, encrypted it, and moved it to cloud storage labeled foreclosure, not revenge. That night, Nora cooked pasta while I poured wine. She raised her glass and smiled. "To peace." I clinked mine against hers. "To boundaries." When people ask how it feels to lose your family, they expect tragedy, grief, or rage, or regret. For me, it feels like space, like walking into a room finally cleared of noise. The first week was quiet, too quiet. I half expected another wave of guilt messages. "We miss you. This isn't you. Come home." But there was nothing. That's how you know they were addicted to access, not connection. Once the supply ran dry, they moved on to the next source of validation, social media sympathy, maybe, or news stories where I was the villain they had to forgive. I didn't check. I didn't care. I was busy rebuilding. Every morning, I made coffee without checking my phone. I started journaling again, something I hadn't done since before the accident. Some days I still caught myself expecting their calls, their emergencies, the "Liam, can you?" request that used to arrive like clockwork. Now there was just silence, and silence can be terrifying when you've spent a lifetime performing usefulness. Nora helped. She never tried to fix me. She just showed up, steady, quiet, whole. We walked around the lake on weekends talking about small things, movies, work, the cat that followed us once and decided we were safe. When I told her I sometimes missed them, not their behavior, just the idea of them, she nodded. Missing the idea of love is different from missing the people who refuse to give it. That line stuck with me. One night, I opened the family ledger again, not to edit, not to add, just to look. Each file felt like a fossil from a version of me that used to beg to be seen. The receipts, the screenshots, the voicemails, they weren't proof anymore. They were memorials. Proof is for defense. Memorials are for closure. I renamed the folder one last time, "What Love Isn't," because that's what it taught me. What love isn't supposed to look like. It isn't conditional generosity. It isn't weaponized guilt. It isn't "you'll understand" every time they take something from you. It isn't silence as punishment or kindness as bait. Love isn't debt. A few weeks later, I got a short email from Summer. No subject line, no greeting. "I found a therapist." Mom might too. I know it doesn't fix things, but I get it now. For the first time, I felt no tug to reply. Forgiveness doesn't always require conversation. Sometimes it's choosing not to reopen the wound. I smiled, archived the email, and whispered, "Good. Start there." Then I closed the laptop and went outside. Spring came early that year. The air smelled like wet pavement and lilacs. I took my prosthetic out for a run, the kind where the rhythm feels almost like prayer. For years, my family used that part of me as a metaphor for weakness. Now it was just anatomy that worked harder than they ever did. When I reached the bridge overlooking the water, I stopped to breathe, not because I was tired, but because I could. That's the difference between endurance and survival. One drains you, the other restores you. People assume the story ends when you walk away, but really it starts when you stop explaining your boundaries and start living inside them. I haven't blocked my family completely. I don't need to. They've already learned what silence means when it isn't driven by fear. Every so often, my phone buzzes with a new contact request from someone tied to them, a cousin, a friend, an old neighbor. I let them linger unread because the truth doesn't need an audience anymore. It just needs peace. That night, Nora and I watched the city lights from my balcony. She rested her hand on mine. "So, what now?" she asked softly. I looked at the skyline, sharp, endless, alive. "Now," I said, "I build things that no one else can take credit for." She smiled. "That sounds like you." I laughed quietly. "No, it sounds like the me I was always supposed to be." The wind picked up, carrying the faint hum of traffic, and for once I didn't hear it as noise, just life continuing on my terms. What do you think about this story? Let me know in the comments, drop a like, and don't forget to subscribe for more real-life stories.